On the morning of August 6, 2005, the bustling port city of Fortaleza in northeastern Brazil woke up to what seemed like an ordinary weekend. People were having breakfast, heading to work, or doing their Saturday shopping. No one had the slightest idea that a state bank was on the verge of experiencing an event that would go down in history. No alarms went off. No gunshots were heard. Not a single sign of forced entry was found. But 160 million Brazilian reais had silently disappeared from the vault of the central bank. At the time, this amounted to approximately $70 million, and in total, 3.5 tons of cash. It was one of the biggest cash heists not only in Brazil's history, but in the world. When investigators examined the underground area, they discovered one of the most ingenious crimes ever committed. A fake grass shop, a narrow tunnel stretching tens of meters, and a heist plan that looked like it came straight out of a movie. We often assume shows like La Casa de Papel are purely fiction, but this operation was just as brilliantly planned in real life. This was one of the quietest yet most shocking bank robberies in history. The unbelievable story of how millions of dollars disappeared underground without anyone noticing. And it all began months before the robbery. The mastermind behind the plan was Juicy Van Santos, nicknamed Alemo. The financier was Fernando Ribeiro, known as Fernandinho, the dark force behind the operation. Their team consisted of about 34 people, each with a specific role: construction workers, professional tunnel diggers, former inmates, engineers, and most importantly, bank security employees leaking inside information. Some members had even escaped prison through tunnels before. For example, Moises Silva, who in 2001 helped 107 inmates escape from a São Paulo prison by digging a tunnel. Alemo needed a strategic house close to the bank. The goal was simple: start digging from a location that wouldn't raise suspicion and reach the central bank's highly secured vault. The bank was known for its fortress-like security, and it stored massive amounts of cash underground, making it an irresistible target for determined thieves. After weeks of scouting, they rented a modest house on a quiet street close enough to the bank yet out of sight. But the tunnel would produce tons of soil, and that could attract attention, so they needed a cover. The solution: a fake synthetic grass company. Since grass work involved soil, no one would question bags of dirt being moved. The house was painted green and named Grama Sintética, synthetic grass. From the outside, it looked like a real landscaping business. Gang member Paulo Sergio established the fake company, and he even put the date of the heist, August 5, 1968, as his birthday on his forged ID. A creepy detail, but also a clear sign of how much they enjoyed showing off their cleverness. Sergio built friendly relationships with neighbors to avoid suspicion. They used a van with the company logo, issued fake invoices, and created the perfect camouflage. The shop wasn't just a disguise. It allowed them to monitor the area for weeks and carefully plan the tunnel path. No one could have guessed that behind this ordinary little storefront, the largest criminal operation in Brazil's history was being constructed. In the first week of May, the digging began. They descended about 4 meters underground from inside the house and started tunneling toward the bank vault. A 7-person crew worked in shifts, one digging, another filling bags with soil, another attaching the bags to a rope, and another pulling them up. Outside, the bags were piled up. They worked for hours every single day without stopping. The biggest challenge was disposing of the enormous amount of soil quietly. Hundreds of truckloads of dirt were secretly transported at night under the guise of gardening work. The vans were kept spotless and covered with tarps. Eventually, the gang began filling rooms inside the house with soil, sealing the rooms with new walls and dumping soil into the backyard, raising the yard level by nearly a meter. No one noticed a thing. Because the tunnel was narrow and oxygen levels were a concern, they installed a ventilation system. The walls were reinforced with around 900 wooden planks, water hoses were installed, battery-powered lights were placed along the tunnel, and a wired communication line was set up. With GPS and mapping, they avoided damaging underground infrastructure. This tunnel wasn't just a crime passage, it was a mini underground engineering marvel. After 3 months of work, on the evening of Friday, August 5th, 2005, the tunnel reached the exact point beneath the vault with millimetric precision. This accuracy was possible thanks to detailed information provided by former bank security employees, vault locations, patrol times, and how the alarm systems worked. With engineers in the crew, every calculation was spot on. The heist was planned for the weekend. Low activity, low risk, maximum time. The vault wall was 1 meter thick and reinforced with steel. Using industrial drills, hydraulic jacks, and metal cutters, they broke through. There was noise, but the bank was closed. No one heard it. They entered in about 3 hours. A forklift blocked the camera's view, 5 cameras weren't recording, only showing live feed, and the gang carefully avoided motion detectors to reach the cache. Newly printed notes were traceable, so they ignored them. The target was older 50 real bills. The heist started around 10 p.m. and ended at 6 a.m. Total stolen, 164 million reais, about $70 million, weighing 3.5 tons. If stacked, the cache would reach 330 meters high. The bank's security systems focused on doors, windows, and internal motion sensors. The tunnel exploited a blind spot. Not a single alarm went off. After an 11-hour operation, the gang used a rail system in the tunnel to transport the cash. Everyone collected their share. Leaders and financiers got 10 to 20 million reais. Workers got around 2 million. With prearranged vehicles, they disappeared into the night with the money. On Monday morning, bank employees arrived and everything seemed normal until they checked the vault. Locked doors, an empty vault, scattered bills on the floor. Pure shock. When police entered the tunnel, it looked like an underground mining site. Tools, sandbags, dust, equipment, everything professionally set up. The gang vanished. Some fled to other cities, some abroad, some tried laundering the money. The public was stunned, and the case dominated headlines. Even the FBI assisted in the investigation. By November 2005, 13 members had been arrested. Clues included newly purchased cars, property documents, and disposable SIM cards. After the heist, the gang turned on each other. Blackmail, kidnappings, even murders occurred. Fernandinho was kidnapped and killed by members of his own crew. In total, 129 people were arrested, with cumulative sentences exceeding 2,452 years. But only 11% of the stolen money, roughly 18 million reais, was ever recovered. The rest remains missing. The central bank had to replace the stolen cash. This heist not only caused financial loss, but also fueled money laundering and illegal economic activity. It sparked global discussions about banking security, and underground security measures were strengthened worldwide. The robbery entered the Guinness World Records and became a modern legend. To this day, people in Brazil still ask, where is the missing 3.5 tons of money?